Good day, YouTube. This is J Money with Falling Forward Financial. Just an update here on NEO. They had this nice dip yesterday. I was tempted, but I didn't buy any. Now I wish I would have. But here's a look at what they've done over the last year, down over 60%. In the last 3 months, down over 42%. The last month, down over 30%. Here's a look at the last week, down almost 6%. Here's a look at today. They're in the green, finally about 20%. So, like I said, they had this decent dip here down to the $13.05. And I'm sure that's what that was on that day. So that's the low. But this is NEO. Ticker NIO. I have 3 shares here in this account. I have more in another account. And this is the crappiest cost basis I have out of my accounts is $48.06. If you don't know much about NEO, they're an electric vehicle company, China headquarters in Shanghai, been around since 2014. Volume of 111 million and average of 84.43. Market cap of 28 billion and a 52-week low of $13.01 and a high of $55.13. Here's a look at their ratings. Great ratings, 89%. And here's a look at their earnings. Next is expected on March 24th after hours, so we'll see what that does. But they're all up today, so imagine that. So those of you that bought the dip, leave that in the comments. That would be interesting to know if you got in on this dip, or even this one would have been good. So maybe it'll sustain itself and stay in the $17, $18 range. Microsoft Bing here, currently showing it as a buy. And NEO stock, a gift to investors or a money pit. And this just came out 7 hours ago. Investors are selling off Chinese stocks due to including NEO, but could now be a good time to invest in the EV makers. So still could be an opportune time to get in on this one. You just have to watch it and wait and see what it does. And I don't give tax, legal, or trading advice, so I'm just stating my opinion. But Chinese electric vehicle NEO has been suffering from strong market volatility that has especially affected Chinese stocks. Thanks to regulatory pressures from Beijing and Washington and a generally chaotic geopolitical scenario, NEO shares have depreciated more than 75% since the peak in January 2021. However, there are good reasons to consider an investment in NEO. Despite recent bearishness, the company remains well positioned among the top global EV makers. So, in my last video, there was some articles I went over that these could be delisted in regards to the Chinese government. That's always the case with these, so I don't have a whole lot wrapped up into these just for that simple fact, but these prices, they are tempting. So Chinese stocks are on a downtrend. They continue to be a concern for the markets. Not surprisingly, the iShares, the ETF MCHI, has lost 45% its value in the past year. The reason for the negative trend, Beijing doesn't want Chinese companies listed on U.S. exchanges to disclose sensitive information about their companies and clients. However, if these companies don't consent to audits by U.S. regulators for 3 consecutive years, they run the risk of being delisted. So who knows what they'll do? I mean, you wouldn't want to get your stock delisted, and I know there's a lot of people here that buy Chinese stocks, so it's just hard to say what they're going to do. They might just say, screw you, and go ahead and do it. I don't know. So the market is also concerned about the crisis in Eastern Europe. If the Chinese government aligns with Russia, it could also have a negative effect on China and its stocks. Because regulatory and geopolitical issues have been main factors that have kept investors away from Chinese equities rather than fundamental problems with these companies themselves, This may be a good opportunity to buy excellent Chinese companies at much lower valuation multiples than seen last year. There are good reasons to remain optimistic about NIO. The fact that they are more bulls than bears on Wall Street reinforces this idea. Being eligible for a dual listing, NIO recently debuted on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange in hopes of reducing regulatory risks and minimizing investor concerns. So again, the geopolitical chaos and skyrocketing oil prices have added a sense of urgency to the global push for alternative energy sources. This could give a boost to the EV manufacturers, including NIO. What NIO investors should consider: investing in NIO today is best suited for investors willing to face extreme volatility and very high risk. However, the old saying that the greater the risk, the greater the rewards holds true here. So, could get some great rewards, but you could also run the fear of them being delisted and losing some money as well as the stock. So that's what the article is trying to point out, but that's just something you're going to have to consider. So if you're wanting to get into these stocks, so again, I'm not advising it. It is an opportunity where they're low, but again, I don't give tax, legal, or trading advice. But just as it says here, analysts say you should still hold NIO stock. And this is dated here today. So traded at $14.93 at the close of the session on Tuesday, 3/15/2022, but made an upward move of 5.89% on the previous day price. Looking at the stock, we see how the previous close was $14.10, and the beta reads 2.47, with the day's range being $13.01 to $15.35. In terms of its 52-week price range, NIO has a high of $55.13 and a low of $13.82. The company stock had lost about 38% over the past 30 days. NIO had a market cap of $23.05 billion and is expected to release its quarterly earnings reported on April 27th through May 2nd. Estimates by analysts give the company expected earnings per share of minus 0.20 cents, with the EPS growth on the year at minus 77 cents for 2021 and minus 23 cents for the next year. NIO reversed course after a sell-off. Will EV stock rally ahead of earnings? Hundreds of millions in new security aid for Ukraine. And this just came out 2 hours ago. After an extended lean run, NIO shares hit on Tuesday, weighed down by multiple factors. It appears the selling may have stalled, at least for now. The backdrop for NIO shares have been tracing a downward trend since it peaked at $66.99 on January 9th of 2021. The weakness reflected a production disruption that was precipitated by supply constraints. NIO fell 35% in 2021, underperforming its domestic peers as well as most U.S. EV stocks. So when I checked, NIO was down. I think even Tesla was down. Tesla is even up today, so you probably could have bought in and traded it and made about $30-40 a share, but I didn't. But it was widely expected that NIO would recover from the predicament in the new year, but it was not to be. Fears of a string of Fed rate hikes and later on the start of the Ukraine war sapped the risk appetite of the market. NIO was also caught in the vortex of the market-wide sell-off led by tech stocks ahead of Wednesday's session. NIO shares had lost a whopping 53% year-to-date. China concerns ease. The reversal in the sentiment toward NEO shares seen in Wednesday is part attributable to across the board strength in Chinese stocks. Investors might have fleeing these stocks in droves on fears that they might face the prospect of delisting from the United States exchanges. And just as I pointed out earlier in my last video, that's kind of the concern, so that they might face the prospect of the delisting from the U.S. exchanges. So that's probably always going to be the fear on these. So see if anything is here on Reddit. About 1,000 of NEO last week. NEO sucked this year while it looks promising in 2022. So over here on MSN Money, currently showing it as a buy, and here on Tip Ranks, currently as a strong buy. 10 out of 12, 2 at a hold with 184% upside to 51.14, high of 87, low of 30. But if you have NEO, go and list that in the comments along with your cost basis, and if you bought this dip, that'd be interesting to know. I was tempted. I made a video and somebody said just wait until it goes down to $10. True, but I don't know if it's going to hit 10. But it could. So if it does, I'll might be tempted to buy some. So like I said, if you have this one, go ahead and list it in the comments along with your cost basis, any other information you'd like to share. And if you haven't smashed the like button yet, go ahead and hit that for me, as well as subscribing and hit the bell so you're notified of when the next videos drop. Again, this is J Money, following Forward Financial. Happy trading, happy investing, stay green. Cheers.